Wow, we have such a great show today. We are going to talk about those of you who feel stuck in life, in love, and feel like you don't know how to get out of this stuck place. We're going to help you get unstuck and help you build momentum to have the love and life you want. Does that sound good? Well, tune in for Creative Love Radio. We're about to begin. Welcome to Creative Love Radio with Debbie and Dr. Rob. We are redefining relationships to guide you to greater love, more success, and living your purpose through the latest research in neuroscience, Jungian psychology, and Eastern wisdom. Get ready for another inspirational episode of Creative Love Radio. Okay, topic of today, let's get unstuck, Dr. Rob.
Let's do it.
Well, before we begin, just want to remind everyone we have a really wonderful opportunity for you to remove your stuckiness at our live events. We are doing a live event in LA in October, and we're also doing one in the beautiful city of London that Rob loves so well in October as well. If you are interested in attending, let us know. We have opportunities for you to get bonus tickets if you do one of our programs, one of our courses. And if not, you could just get a ticket on your own, straight out. Just let us know if you're interested, and we would love to send you the information. Also, don't forget to come to our Creative Love Gurus Facebook page and say hello to us and tell us what you want to talk about in future shows. This is Debbie Maldonado, and I'm here with Dr. Rob.
Good evening.
And this is the story of being unstuck in love and life.
Getting unstuck. Getting out of the mud.
Getting out of the mud. The tires are spinning, but it's not going anywhere, and you're going, what the heck is going on here? And we're going to make some things really clear for you.
Right. And it's about the stages of change and thinking about what stage you're at, if you are ready to make some changes. Why are we stuck, and why is it so difficult to change even when we want to change, often it feels hard to make some changes in our life. And love, we know, is
the biggest change, right?
Well, yeah, it's the biggest challenge because it's about emotion, and it's about unconscious patterns, and it's about relating to strangers in the beginning, who are possible soulmates. So there's a lot to it, and we want to give people some basic tools, at least to start thinking about where they're at as far as change goes in their life, and if they're ready to make some changes, here's what you can expect.
You know what I love about this, Rob, what we're about to explain about these stages is that each stage needs to be approached differently. So a lot of people, we put stuckness in one category, right? Like you have this, so just go toward what you fear or think more positive. And each, depending on where you're at as we go through the stages, you're going to know that there's a different approach for each one.
Right.
And where you're at and what the struggle is in that one or the conflict is in that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So where do we begin? Let's see. The Pre Contemplation Stage. Stage number 1. Yes. That and Pre Contemplation simply means that you haven't even really thought about making a change. You don't see the need to, or you're comfortable where you're at, or it just hasn't occurred to you that you could make some changes and improve your life or create something new in your life.
You kind of feel that your life is good as it's good. There's probably a lot of people, those of you who are listening, a lot of people in your life that this relates to, like this person should really read this book, or this person really should take this workshop, or they're just not seeing it. They're just not seeing that they need to change anything about themselves. They're just kind of okay with where they're at. I see this really like when I was younger in my corporate job, I didn't see a need that I needed to change careers in the beginning. It's like,
right.
It wasn't really an issue for me.
Yeah, and a lot of us don't start the change process until we're forced to, either by our loved ones, or we get laid off, or something happens where we need to move and make changes. And that in itself is kind of a motivator for a lot of us because, we have no choice often. But we don't have to wait until something happens to initiate change. We can start doing that on our own. That's the beauty of it. So from pre-contemplation, where you're not seeing the need or you're not really feeling the emotion, the inspiration to change, we go to the second stage, which is contemplation.
Where you're thinking about changing or thinking about something. It's really just that kind of internal mental gymnastics that we do with what's going on in our life. So the change has happened, some kind of event has happened externally that reflects back to us and says, okay, the thing I was really used to and comfortable is not comfortable anymore.
Right.
And there's kind of a need for change. It arises within you. And it could be a gentle nudge, or it can be like a, bulldozer running through your house kind of place, where it's just like a big change happens externally, or a big shift.
Yeah. And we can also see the darker side of this, the first one, right? The pre-contemplation stage, where somebody might feel hopeless. Like, I don't think I can even change, even if I wanted to, right? So there's no motivation to change. At the contemplation level, at least we're saying, you know what? I want to stop feeling stuck. Mm-hmm. I want to feel different. I want to feel inspired. I want to live in a city that's different or experience new things. So there, the seed of change is starting to take hold and sprout. But
this stage is contemplation because you really don't have any definite plans. You're not really making any plans yet. And a lot of it really in the beginning is more focused on the problem and the past and what happened versus really kind of, you don't like where you're at and you're kind of thinking about it. And even this is like, especially like a breakup or a loss of a job, you think, how could I have done it differently? And you're kind of in a regretful stage. But you're knowing that you need to change something, but you're still like in the beginning of this stage, you're just still thinking about the past. And as you move toward the end of this contemplation stage, you start to see maybe other people who've gotten out of that trap you were in, that you feel like you're in, or that had achieved a goal that you start to think may be possible for you. And you start to shift from that kind of anxiety about the past to excitement about the future and anticipation. And you start to kind of get that revved up like, ooh, like I can do this and I can write a book and I can find my Prince Charming and I could move to California, but it's still, again, not taking any action, but at least you're feeling a little more inspired.
Right, you're thinking about it, right? The imagination is flowing, the juices are flowing, and it's a great place to be, but we're not there yet.
You're just thinking about it.
Yeah.
And you're talking about it with your friends and your plans, but you really haven't done anything active-wise. Right.
It's a great place to be because we know that everything begins in our mind. Mm-hmm. And so we have to be able to imagine the kind of future that we want and the kind of change that we want. And it's formulated in our mind, actually. If you cannot see it, if you cannot conceptualize it in some form, it doesn't have to be exact, right? But some form of conceptualization has to be there in order to get us there. If we cannot see something, we will not see it externally. If we cannot see it in our mind, right? So once that excitement and anxiety or anticipation, let's say, of making those changes starts to take hold, then we get into the preparation stage. That's the third stage, preparation. We're preparing for something new.
We're thinking, well, this is the stage where you're not just inspired and kind of fantasizing about your life being different and thinking, well, there is a possibility, you start to do a little research. You're kind of researching a little bit, very light research. Maybe thinking about like, well, maybe I need to read a book, or maybe I need to take a workshop, or maybe I need to ask my friend who has a coach that she's working with, but you're not really doing it yet, but you're thinking like, okay, you're starting to plan. I think, okay, there must be a way out, that I can start taking steps. So you're kind of just about to take action. You're just preparing to take action. The key of this is that there is ambivalence.
Oh, yeah.
That there is a part of you that wants to do it and go ahead, and another part of you that says, I don't know, maybe I need to think about it a little more, right?
Yes, and some people and some of us get stuck there, right? Mm-hmm. It's like that ambivalence of, I'm weighing the options, I'm looking at the pros and the cons and making a list and all this stuff. And by the time we know it, a year or two have gone by, and we're still kind of preparing, contemplating the action and not making those changes. So the next stage
is action. Can you imagine after the 5 stages of change, the 4th one is action? There's a lot of thinking going on and ambivalence before we actually take action. And so when we take action, it's something that other people will finally recognize. So like your friends or family will say, wow, she's doing something, or he's doing something different. It's something that is a marked change in your behavior or your daily routine or something new. So you sign up for, maybe you go to school and take a class on something, or you say, you know what, I'm going to get that dating app out and I'm going to sign up online and I'm going to put my face out there and not thinking about it and writing my profile in secret. I'm actually going to do it. I'm going to put myself out there. And this really requires commitment to time and energy towards your goal. So all the other 3, you're just kind of like thinking about it. It doesn't really require any heavy lifting on your part. I mean, you can ruminate in your mind and exercise, like the mental gymnastics all day long, but you're not really getting to that action stage where you're actually making things change in your life in the external world.
Right. Before the action, you're just dipping your toe in the water, whereas in the action, you're jumping in, right? And you're getting a direct sense of what is it that I'm going to do. And, you're jumping in with both feet. Often that's the scariest part for all of us when we're making changes, is actually taking that step, right? Now, most of us would think, well, that's it, right? We're done because we've changed or we made
making changes in behavior.
Yeah, we took the action. But there's one more stage that's important, and that is maintenance. Maintaining the change, right? We know, for example, it's relatively easy to lose the weight, but it's hard to keep the weight off for a long time. We know it's easy to join the gym, but it's hard to keep going to the gym and, doing maintaining that change.
A lot of people will take action, like they'll go to a workshop and they'll say, I went to this workshop, and then they'll leave, but then they don't have any maintenance. And they think, see, change it's not an on and off button. A lot of people think, well, and I used to think this too, if I just knew what my block to love was, and just found that one thing, everything would change. And in a way, when we do reach that, like kind of, there's a critical point where we do shift, but we also need to keep going at it and maintaining the mind, because the mind has a tendency to kind of have a default way of thinking. And we've been thinking the old way, our limited thinking, our whole life. To just shut it off, it's not going to happen overnight. And so this isn't to discourage you. It's actually, in fact, going to encourage you, because most people, and this is what I've seen a lot, is people feel like they're doing it wrong because they're thinking negative one day, or they're feeling discouraged one day. And it's normal to feel that way. It's normal to feel that kind of you're feeling like you're going backwards because your mind is just kind of playing its little games with you. But in the maintenance stage is about not letting those thoughts discourage you, not letting you stop, because it's easy to take one step or two steps, but to take consistent steps to go for what you want, it takes like discipline and commitment.
That's right.
And being able to work with your mind and fight those thoughts that drag you back.
So without a powerful commitment to maintaining this change, you'll relapse. You'll go back to the old patterns because that's our nature. So you need to, once you make those changes, you need to make a strong, powerful commitment and say, this is my new pattern. This is my new way of acting and being in the world. And that maintains that change. Now, these stages, we don't go through them in a sequence, in a smooth way. Most of the time, we go back and forth between one and the next. And, we might even regress all the way back to Pre Contemplation, where we forget about our goals. And
we feel hopeless and we feel like there's nothing to do. I don't want to think about it anymore, right?
Yeah, exactly. And we might go through the whole sequence and then re-go through the sequence again, maybe several times, because that's what it requires of us. That's okay. It's as long as we are bringing awareness to our change and we hold on to those dreams, those goals for ourselves, even if it's just, I want to be happy in life. I want to have success. I want to, travel the world someday. Those dreams are so important because they instill that hope in us that we can change, that we can make and improve our life in a better way. So, what is the expected element in all of this is resistance. We know our system, our mind, our body will resist change. Especially
every step of the way.
Yeah. Our ego mind is designed to keep us in a homeostasis, in a kind of a steady state.
Stage one.
Wherever we feel comfortable, wherever we feel safe, that's where it wants to keep us, right? It's that little voice that says, why do you want to make these changes?
It's so comfortable here.
I like it here.
It's scary in that new place. We don't know what to expect.
There's dragons up there.
There's dragons.
Yeah, and it's incredible. That voice will tell you the worst things about the change or about the possibility of failure or what's going to happen if you change. Anything from don't do it to you'll be homeless and out in the street, and you'll starve, something ridiculous.
Oh, you know what else it'll say? The little mind? It'll say everything's just going to work out on its own. You don't have to do anything. Everything's just going to fall into place. That right person's just going to show up for you. The right job opportunity is going to show up for you. Or when you know it's time for you to change your career, you'll be given a sign, like those kind of things. And if you could be waiting around for something else out there to change. There's actually a song called Waiting for the World to Change, and you have to change. I'd like to say, too, that the most successful people will go through these 5 stages 3 or 4 times before they get the result they want. And so that's normal. So a lot of people are like, oh, I gave up or that one time. The key is not to beat yourself up in those times because that's what the mind is doing. Now, here's another thing, that when you go backwards, when you go back into, well, not backwards, but when you revisit, let's say, the contemplation stage, you're going to be wiser. If you even went to 5 and you went back to 2 again, you're going to be wiser this time. So the things you'll be contemplating about are going to be much different. The knowledge that you have and the wisdom that you have will be different. So when you go through the next stages again and take action again, it's like almost like gathering up the things you missed the first time. So everything is perfect. So it's not about do it once right the first time or you're going to fail. And it shouldn't be this like exhausting journey, it should be like, okay, this is what happens normally with every normal person. And the key is you just keep moving. Even if you go into contemplation again, you use it and you just keep moving. And it's natural, and make it more of an adventure than this hard thing. Like I got to finish 5, like the 12-step plan or something that you got to get to 12 and then, then you're done. Life is about that. And every time you reach a goal, you're going to have another level you want to go to. So I remember for me, when I first started, I had a goal to be self-employed. Well, yeah, I'd be self-employed. I want to get my rent paid. that was like the first step. And then when I did that, it's like, oh, I want to go to the next level. I want to make more money. I want to travel. So guess what? I had to go through that stage again. This is good enough. Why do I want more? And so you're constantly going to go through these phases. And so you get comfortable with them and understand what's happening.
Right. There's always these two forces in us. One is propelling us towards the future, towards what's possible, or what seems impossible perhaps at the time, but we want to move forward, we want to grow and expand our life. The other force is resisting, holding us back and saying, you've done enough, you don't have to go any further. Be comfortable, be content with what you have, that kind of energy. And it's the energy between those two forces that really creates our life. We have to learn to work with the resistance to where it benefits us, because we need resistance. In other words, if everything came easy to us, we would not appreciate it, and we would not enjoy it or value it. So what resistance does is it actually gives meaning to our life. It actually gives that sense of accomplishment and satisfaction that if
we overcame something and builds courage and
absolutely
perseverance.
And it's ours. We built it with our blood, sweat, and tears, and it's beautiful. Whereas if something is given to us, often we don't value it. Right? It doesn't have that energy of value. So we learn to appreciate resistance, but at the same time, we learn also to acknowledge our desire for growth and expansion.
So I think what we want to end with is how you go through these stages and what you can do if you identify the stage you're in and what you need to do in that stage. So the pre contemplation stage, there's really nothing to do except look at your life and say, an area of your life where you feel complacent with, and say, is this all there is? Is this what I want? I think one of the exercises we have our coaches do and our clients do is we have them make a toleration list. What are they tolerating in their life? A lot of people don't even realize all the things they're tolerating. So I invite you to kind of think about what's something in your life that you're just tolerating. Yeah. And toleration leads to like this undercurrent of anger, and frustration. So it's going to come up eventually. So you'd rather look at it and say, okay, let me be a little proactive here and figure out what part of my life I'd like to expand. And then contemplation stage, what do you think would they need to do? Think more? Well, they need to move from the past to thinking about, contemplating about the future.
Yeah, I think imagination is the key to contemplation. All the great people that have created great things in this world acknowledge that it was their imagination, their ability to dream big that got them where they are or where they're going or who they were, because that's where everything begins. You have to use your imagination. And if you think about it, why do we have such a great imagination? Why are we able to visualize and think about possible futures? It's because that's our nature. That's what helps us create these new worlds for ourselves, these new lives, and expand and, create rocket ships and all these beautiful things now, because we have that in us. And then we move on to the preparation stage, which It's kind of moving in between daydreaming or just dreaming about it, thinking about it, and action. It's that middle stage where we say, okay, I'm going to make a move, but I need to prepare for that move, right? I want to get out of my corporate job, but I can't do it this year. But I'm going to save up and I'm going to take some courses and prepare for that change that I'm going to make.
And you may even do like research in this stage. You're not really taking big action, but even research is this preparatory stage is really is kind of a light action, because there's no commitment yet. So I'll talk to people doing consults, and they want to make a change in their love life, but they're ambivalent. They're like, okay, I'm just researching all the different things that can help me find love, or okay, I think I did enough, like now, and I'm not ready to move forward. And they're ambivalent. They're afraid to kind of take that big action. And they'll say, and this happens with everyone, not just our stuff, but with any kind of change, it's going to require time and money. Whether you have to go back to school to get a new career, whether you have to hire a coach or get sign up for a program that's going to help you, go to a workshop, you're going to have to travel. It's time and money. And that's where the rubber meets the road, right? It's like you can make the preparation, but that's what you're going to hit up against. And so you have to have in your mind a vision that's going to make you sacrifice some time and money so you can have that. And not everything costs a lot of money, but it does cost time. It costs for you to rearrange your life a little bit. And actually, the more risk you take, in rearranging your life, the more bigger changes, that is going to give you the biggest payoff, because you're really saying, okay, this is I'm committed to this. But you can research all you want, but until you, really take action and commit to something, you're still going to be in that preparatory stage. So then you lead to the action where you say, okay, I'm going to show up at that workshop. You're going to come to Destiny, our event, or you're going to sign up for that course that about woodworking or art, creation or some kind of sculpting class. And you're going to say, this is where I want to go in my life. There's some kind of action has taken place.
Right.
And then even in that stage, there's going to be an opportunity for you to quit every single day. Because after you take action, the biggest hurdle in this action stage is quitting or getting distracted and keep trying different things without sticking with one thing.
Right. And it's that commitment, again, that makes the difference. The action has to be accompanied by a powerful commitment to that change, to staying and being the best at that new level that you're at. And every new level has a new devil, which means there's more challenges.
Yeah.
But like you were saying earlier, we get used to this and we learn to appreciate the process of change. And the more we master it, the more we understand it and are willing to face those challenges, then it becomes easier to change. We're not stuck for long periods of time like before.
Now, the maintenance stage is interesting because in relationships and in business, if you started a new career or you got in a new relationship, the maintenance is, kind of staying the course with this person or staying the course with this new career. Again, there's an opportunity to quit, to not stay long-term committed. And so we want to make sure that we're, when we're tempted to run away, like we all are all the time, the ego's always trying to pull us back to the status quo again, is that we have to really be vigilant in our minds of what we really want. And with the new, when you get into a new relationship, it's going to be different challenges than when you were single. I mean, new relationship, new career is much different than the old career. So fresh challenges are going to come up, but you have to look at them as opportunities to grow, not, there's a challenge, I'm doing something wrong. No, it's an opportunity to grow. Every relationship, the more you can come together and in those times, the more solid that relationship is going to be.
Okay, so we got 5 not so easy steps, But
5 simple steps.
Very worthwhile.
Yes.
You go from 1, pre-contemplation, to 2, contemplation. Stage 3 is preparation. Stage 4 is action. And stage 5, maintenance.
Beautiful.
Voila, you're done.
You're done until the next time you go through the cycle. But again, what we want to stress here is that we all go through them. We all go through them several times. And to know where you're at and to normalize it a little bit. To not like make it a pathology or some kind of, issue with your life that you need to fix. It's just like, oh, okay, I'm hesitant a little bit because it's normal to be hesitant. It's normal to be scared of new things. And to know what stage you're at so you know what you need to do in that stage. Because in pre-contemplation, you don't want to be taking massive action, right? You want to kind of think about it first. You want to start planning and all those things. And each stage, I want to just end with this, is that it doesn't have to last long. You can be in a stage for a day or even a moment. You can be back going through it. So it's not like I'm going to spend 3 months in stage 1 and 4 months in stage 2 and I'll never get my goal. We want to just show you it's a state of mind. It's not any time constraint.
Beautiful.
So those are the changes that you're going to go through. And this is how you build momentum for changing your life and changing your love life as well. So tune in next time for another great show. But right now we're going to sign off, and we hope to see you at our events in Destiny and Heart of Love in London, coming to LA and London this fall.
See you soon.
Take care.
Love.
You've been listening to Creative Love Radio with Debbie and Dr. Rob. For more information, visit us on our website at creativelove.com.